What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 10. We start today's of stuff with transfer deadline day, where as you can see, with just over £8 million in the budget, I decided to do nothing. Yeah, we've done nothing throughout the course of the January transfer window, and whilst we have been on a struggling run of form in the Premier League, just one win in our last 6 games in the Premier League, I trust my side, man. You know, we're into the FA Cup last 16 now, and this is a young team. We're developing together. There are certain changes I want to make. There are certain players I want to shift on in the next year or two. Oriol Romeu, Theo Walcott, despite being an academy graduate, potentially Lyanco, even though he's just come in as well. But for now, I trust my team. I believe I'll get the form sorted. And to be honest, we've got a double-digit lead on the bottom 3 right now in the race to survive. There is still a very slim possibility of European football, though of course the more games we drop points in, it becomes more and more unlikely. In the first season, we were asked to finish in mid-table. I believe we're going to do that, and I trust my side to deliver. So, starting today's episode off here after the very quick deadline day, and also an academy update and some scouting updates as well. Just real briefly, I want to share this with you guys. This morning, I returned a negative COVID test, so I just wanted to point that out real quickly and say thank you for being very understanding over the past couple of weeks. I have to be honest, and I'm going to break away from the commentary of the game here, just very briefly to talk about this. This is the first time I've had COVID in 2 years, as we picked up this guy from the youth scouting in France, Jerome Martel, 6'3" holding mid. First player who, to me, looks like he could be something decent. I'm going to retrain him to centre-half with the defensive and physical stats he's got, plus being 6'3". I think he'd be a good ball-playing centre-half in this team. Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, the potential is good as well. But yeah, first time I had COVID in 2 years, and I've got to be honest, man, I was really naive. Like, you know, when it first was announced, I was 27 years old, and I remember thinking, look, I'm in my mid to late 20s. I'm now in my late 20s. But I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I'm still relatively young. I'm in decent shape. I'm healthy. Good diet. I'll be okay. You know, it's not going to affect me too much. First time I had it, got a positive test last Thursday. Oh my God. I was completely floored and knocked out as we've been drawn against Leicester City, the holders of the FA Cup in the last 16. So badly wanting my Lions in the last 16, but we got the Foxes instead. But yeah, I couldn't believe, man. I was completely knocked out. My throat was almost as sore as it was a few years ago when I had my glandular fever, or mono, if you will, for my American followers. My head was killing me. The cough was terrible. My nose was so blocked, it was embarrassing. I could barely breathe through it. It was just ridiculous, you know. I was just so achy, so sore. There was one night, I think it was the Wednesday night before I actually did the test to confirm it, where I was literally in bed and I was just shivering, absolutely shivering like crazy. I underestimated COVID. So for those of you out there who have had it, believe me, I sympathise with what you had to go through. It was the first time I'd had it. It was awful. I really underestimated it. And I'm not going to get political and say, get the vaccines, guys. You know, I'm not going to get political. It's freedom of choice. But to me, all I'm saying is, thank God I have had my vaccines. I can't imagine how worse it would have been had I not. But even so, yeah, I'm glad to say I've got a negative test. I've fully recovered. So hopefully from here on out, my voice is going to sound a lot more normal. Anyway, first game of today's episode was indeed Tottenham Hotspur. And what has been a really poor run of form in the Premier League has only been made up for by our run in the FA Cup. Yeah, getting through Sheffield Wednesday and then Sunderland, the 2 League One sides, to reach the last 16 of the FA Cup. That's been the saving grace as what has otherwise been a really tough run of form for the Saints. So taking on Spurs away, they have fallen off the pace a little bit in the race for the title this season, but whilst we would hit the bar in the first half, Heung-min Son gave them the lead. Always scores against me, but I knew I could find a leveler in this game. I was creating chances. I got one in the second half, and Ritsu Doan gets it right for me the second time asking. Great little free ball there. You would have seen the run as well, how I angled it to the finish perfect in off the underside of the crossbar, and it's 1-1. I've got to be honest, you know, I often talk about EA and how the optimal movement for many years was one of the weakest aspects of their game. It was incredibly unrealistic. It was really, at some points, just silly. Like, the players' movements was just really poor and unintelligent. But I have to say, since they've given you the chance now to angle a player's run yourselves by pressing the L1 button and then flicking the right stick in the direction of where they want them to go, it doesn't always work the way you want, because you've got to be really accurate with the right stick and time it correctly. Otherwise, you'll run them out of play or behind you by accident. But when it does come off, it's such a big benefit there to basically juke a player out and then go the other way and find some space. And for our first goal there, the leveller, And after Sam Johnson made a good save after that, we held on for it was a very credible point there away against Spurs, and I'll certainly take that. And when you think about our results away from home this season against the traditional top six, yes, we've had some big defeats such as Liverpool and Chelsea, but we've picked up a point away in North London against Spurs and against Man City at the start of the season as well. It's true, we yet to record our first big scalp of the season against one of the traditional top six, but I've got to say, you know, to get 2 points in those 2 games there, that's not too bad, and it stops the rot temporarily after a really poor run of form in the Premier League. Having said that, the following game was going to be one of the toughest of the season. Manchester United away, Old Trafford. Red Devils right now top of the table in the Premier League under Ralph, going for their first Premier League title since the dominant Sir Alex Ferguson era. They had the first chance of the game, Ronnie denied by former Manchester United Academy graduate Sam Johnson, then 23 minutes in. Oh my god, this guy is the Japanese sensation. I need a nickname for this guy, and it's so funny because I just finished my Armenia Bielefeld career mode, and if you watch that, firstly thank you, really hope you enjoyed, had a blast with that team there. You would know that Masaya Okugawa was a bit of a star in that save, the Japanese playmaker who was so good for us, particularly in the early seasons. Second season, or second series I should say, in a row where I've got a Japanese star in my team. I've got to start scouting Japan. Ritsu Doan 7 for the season, and I'll be totally honest here, if a big club doesn't come in for him in the summer window, I will be shocked. Yeah, he's off to a great start to his Premier League career, and well, let's just say I think it's 50-50 right now whether he'll still be a Southampton player at the start of next season or not. I do predict some bids in the summer window. He's been our player of the season, I would say, this year. But the Red Devils would equalise though through Oscar. How about that? From London to Shanghai, now in Manchester. Oscar back in the Premier League, but not returning to Chelsea, now at Old Trafford, scored the leveller. And in the second half, I defended really, really well. I was keeping the league leaders at bay for the entirety of the second half. 11 minutes on the clock. Well, Marcus Rashford finds a little bit of space, bends it past Sam Johnston, and fires in what would prove to be the winner for the Red Devils after we stopped the rot temporarily against Spurs. We're back to losing ways here in the Northwest. The Red Devils coming from behind to claim the victory. Rashford with the winner. Just real briefly on Marcus Rashford as well, so I'm talking about real football in this save quite a lot now. I'm really enjoying discussing it with you guys too. Marcus Rashford, what do you guys think Rashford should do in this summer? Now, don't get me wrong, every single neutral loves Marcus Rashford for what he's done off the pitch. He's been a true inspiration for youngsters, young boys and girls all over the country. He really has been an inspiration. Everyone loves Marcus Rashford. Off the pitch commitments, he's been a fine example and a true example of what a youngster with such a high profile should aspire to be. He has been great, really, really great for what he's done off the pitch. But as we know this season on the pitch, unfortunately, he has struggled quite a bit. Of course, there's been a managerial change this year with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph as well, so that's taken some adjustment too. Obviously now playing alongside a global superstar in Cristiano Ronaldo. The Red Devils have been inconsistent this season, so when you are with an inconsistent team, it can be hard to be consistent as a player. So I do see the the reasons to give Rashford the benefit of the doubt, but it is true he has struggled quite a bit this season, and there has been talk that he will look to leave in the summer for both the good of his international career and of course for himself at club level as well. What do you guys think Rashford should do in the summer? Because it's really hard to imagine him playing somewhere else other than Manchester United, but obviously, you know, he needs to return to his previous form if he is going to be more consistently picked and also get back to his best. What do you think he should do? Is he the sort of player who do you think needs to fight through the poor, inconsistent form this season and then hopefully get it sorted for the following year? Or do you think a change of scenery, a change of environment, a change of club would be the best for his career to kick-start it once again? Because don't forget, he's still such a young man. What do you think Rashford should do in the summer? And what do you think the Red Devils should do with Marcus Rashford? Keep him or look to move him on in the summer? It's, you know, I never would have thought I'd be in this situation talking about this 12 months ago, but it's true. There is a lot of rumours he'll be leaving this summer. Where do you think he should go, or do you think he should stay? Anyway, third and final game of today's episode on the back of the loss to Manchester United. Everton, Frank Lampard's side coming to take us on. Did you see on Thursday Friday night when Alex Iwobi scored that, I think it was 97th minute game winner for the Toffees over the Magpies. Did you see Frank Lampard came out after the game and said he broke his hand during the celebration? Fair play for that, man. Seriously, balled his life. But taking on Everton in this game, I almost broke my hand getting frustrated to come to final whistle of this game. We drew it 1-1. Allen scored a leveller after we took the lead in the first half, and God knows how I didn't win that game. So many chances, so many shots, high XG, but I couldn't find a game winner in the end. Final score 1-1, and the poor run of form for the Saints continues. 1 win in 9 in the Premier League, and as you can see, with 12 games to go, 32 points on the board. We are 13 clear of the Hornets. I think we'll be safe, no doubt about it, but any chance of making Europe now is going, and almost gone. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career, guys. Big fan. If you enjoyed it, if you had, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode featuring a negative COVID docs very soon.